Naples, 1947. The place? A small village located a few kilometers from the city. My mother, around 27 years old, was spending a few days vacationing in this rural village, accompanied by her sister and my older brother, who was only about 5 months old at the time. My father, a doctor, was on duty at a hospital in the city, so my mother and aunt were the only adults in that rural boarding house. The room wasn't very large, but it was quite comfortable. There were two large beds, one for each of them. A few meters away, a well-equipped bathroom. The room also had a spacious terrace from where the surrounding countryside could be seen. From the first day of their stay, strange things began to happen. The 5-month-old baby, my brother, while in my mother's arms on the terrace and looking towards the room, started to scream in horror, as if he had seen something too terrifying. It's worth noting that the child rarely cried, and if he did, it was only due to hunger or sleep. Second incident. It's nighttime. Everyone is getting ready to sleep. My aunt in her bed, my mother in hers with the baby beside her. Suddenly, my mother feels a strange sensation in her hair, as if an invisible hand wanted to lift one of her long strands. At the moment, she didn't pay much attention, thinking it might be her imagination or a small gust of wind. She then fell asleep, not giving much importance to what had happened. Third incident. That same night, around 3 a.m., my mother, half asleep and half awake, hears in the bathroom the sound of a faucet running, as if someone were rinsing their hands. The bathroom light was on. Moments later, the water faucet stops, and seconds after that, the light goes out, but no one comes out of the bathroom. After a few seconds, my mother falls asleep, and everything returns to calm. The next day, my mother asked her sister if she had gone to the bathroom during the night, and the answer was a resounding no. Very strange, thinks my mother. Fourth and final incident. Being in the room at the end of the afternoon after a hot and exhausting walk through the village, my mother decides to go to the bathroom for a moment. It should be clarified that the toilet was situated in such a way that behind it, at a considerable height, there was a small window with bars. Anyone sitting on the mentioned toilet would have their back to the window. Just as she was about to get up from the toilet, my mother felt someone watching her outside of the window. When she turned around, the face of a sad-looking boy, about 12 or 13 years old, was watching her. "What are you doing there? How dare you?" my mother shouted. There was no audible response. However, the boy slowly backed away until he disappeared from view. Still shaken by what had happened, my mother went out to tell her sister what had occurred. Then, both went to see the bathroom window, where that ghostly face had appeared, in horror. The window overlooked a cliff, making it impossible for anyone to have leaned out from there unless they floated. Needless to say, that same afternoon, they packed their bags and left there like a bat out of hell. Later, they learned that in that building, many years earlier, a child of that same age had tragically died. Perhaps that child found it difficult to detach from this earthly world. P.S. My mother was quite sensitive, and I never knew her to tell a lie. I have no doubt that the events described here truly occurred.